Time is now 10:02, and I call the June 11, 2026 Planning Board meeting to order.
Excuse me, Vice Chair, just want to check the mic. Yes, mic check.
That's it, what?
Yeah, testing.
Hello? Good.
So try it.
Testing.
There you go.
Testing.
We're good?
Okay.
Testing.
All right, we'll take that again. Good morning. The time is now 10:04. I call the June 11, 2026 Planning Board meeting to order. We have the following board members with us today: Commissioner Gerardo.
Good morning, everybody.
Commissioner Gerardo is joining us online. Commissioner Matthews.
Good morning, everyone.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Good morning.
And Vice Chair Hoyer. Welcome you this morning. Apologize for this. We'll now move forward to the business at hand. Please note that the deadline for all participant registration and for all submission of materials and exhibits was 12 noon on Tuesday before the planning board meeting. The order of cases for today's meeting is as follows: items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 7. The first item on the agenda, item 2, draft minutes of June 4, 2026. We'll look for a motion to approve the minutes of June 4.
Move approval, Mr.
I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gerardo and second by Commissioner Jenkins. I'll now call the roll. Commissioner Gerardo.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is item 3B, an executive session. The following is my closing statement. Pursuant to the general provisions article of the Riverdale Code of Maryland, Act 3305, subsections B7, a closed session is proposed to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice related to the budget. Commissioner, do we have a motion to comment?
So moved.
I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gerardo and Commissioner Jenkins. I will now call the roll. Commissioner Gerardo.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. We will now reconvene in open session following the executive session meeting. Good afternoon. I'd like to extend apologies for that long meeting. We had an executive session and that was long, so please accept our apologies. We are back in open session. During the executive session, we consulted with the council to obtain legal advice related to the budget. Commissioner Jenkins will take a personal moment.
Oh yeah, I'd like to, may I take a moment of personal privilege?
Yes.
I just want to recognize Sergeant Perry from the Prince George's County Park Police. She's not in the room or anything, But I ran into her on Saturday when I was taking my daughter to swim lessons, and she just went above and beyond to show my little 3-year-old daughter and another little boy just an immense amount of kindness. She did like an impromptu show and tell. And it was just a reminder to me of all the good work that our park police are doing, how they show up every day with such passion, and just this county in general, so many beautiful things happening. So I just want to take a point of personal privilege to acknowledge Sergeant Perry. If anyone in the room can help me find her or her supervisor so I can actually formally recognize her, I would love to do that. But, one thing she said to these 2 little 3-year-olds was, treat people the way you want to be treated, but also treat people the way they want to be treated. And she really puts off that, and it's just a good reminder to me, and just want to share that with you all as well. But big shout out to our park police and the passion that they show every day as they do their responsibilities. So thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, for that.
Thank you, Sergeant Perry. And if you can hear us, and the Chief of Police can hear us, please send well wishes and all the privilege kudos to Sergeant Perry. We will now move forward to consent agenda. Is there anyone here who wishes to oppose the staff recommendation on the consent agenda items? Any board member who wishes to discuss these items? We'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Any motion to approve consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Commissioner Geraldo, that's to list the items.
Items, so what the items I have are
It's 4D, 4E, and 4F.
and 4F.
Correct, yeah.
All right, 4D, 4E, and 4F.
I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gerardo and second by Commissioner Jenkins. I will now call the roll. Commissioner Gerardo.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Matthews.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye as well. The ayes have it. We will now move to regular agenda items. The first item on the agenda is item 5, detailed pipeline DSP-2026-009, Largo Station. We will now hear from staff.
Good morning, Vice Chair, members of the Planning Board. For the record, I am Dexter Coker with the Urban Design Section. Item number 5 is detailed site plan DSP-2026-0009, Largo Station. The detailed site plan is for the construction of a mixed-use building consisting of 269 multifamily dwelling units and 1,990 square feet of ground floor commercial/retail space, located in the northwest corner of the intersection of Cantera Drive and Schweitzer Lane. The applicable criteria for approval and associated findings have been presented within the technical staff report. Prior to the Tuesday noon deadline, the applicant submitted additional material located within additional backup and identified as applicant's Exhibit 1. The submitted material proposes a revision of recommended condition 1I and in the technical staff report to include language added to the condition and removal of condition 1J. Staff is in agreement with applicant's proposed revisions. Based on the evaluation analysis, Urban Design staff recommend the Planning Board adopt the findings and approve detailed site plan DSP-2026-0009 and Type 2 Tree Conservation Plan TCP2-2026-0030, subject to the recommended conditions for approval and the technical staff report as modified by applicant's Exhibit 1. This includes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Any visual from staff from the Planning Board? I see none. Next, we will hear from the applicant's attorney.
Just before you speak, Mr. Haller, let's have everyone who's going to speak on this matter be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do. Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the Planning Board, Thomas Haller, and the Attorney's Office of Largo. I'm here today on this detailed site plan. I'm actually pleased to be here again on this project. Commissioner Geraldo may remember this project from June 16th, 2022, when it was last before you. For those members of the planning board who were not here at that time, this project was the subject of an approved detailed site plan at that time for the exact project that's before you today. They obtained approval of the project, reported the plats, prepared all the building permit site plans, had everything submitted, but were unable to obtain financing for the project. They were ultimately successful in obtaining a TIF from Prince George's County to put them in a position where they could obtain the equity needed to move forward with the project, and they've been successful in doing that. But by the time they lined up the equity, the detailed site plan had expired because the site plan was only valid for 3 years. So we refiled the same site plan and are here before you today to seek reapproval to allow them to begin construction of the project. They're hoping to begin construction of the project in August if this application gets approved. The project is located almost directly across from the parking lot for the Largo Metro Station. It is going to complete the corner there where as you come out of the former Cap Center property where Harry Truman Drive and Largo Drive West split. Currently, Harry S. Truman Drive is one way going to the west, Largo Drive West is one way going to the east. So if you are at all familiar with that area, you know the property. So it's right at the corner of where the road splits. You will see on that aerial photograph that there's a stormwater management facility on the property. That stormwater management facility was constructed several years ago when the property was slated for industrial development. My clients are going to beautify that pond, put trails around it and sitting areas in order to allow for it to serve as an amenity to the mixed-use building that's being constructed on the site. We are in full agreement with staff's recommendation and the recommended conditions with the minor revisions which staff noted that are contained in applicant's exhibit number 1, which staff's indicated that they are in support of. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for the planning board? I see none. You want to take that call?
Music on.
Alright, I see the location. The hearing is now closed.
I move.
Any question? Board members, any deliberation, or what's your pleasure?
I move that we
Go ahead, Ms. Jenkins.
I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve DSP 2026-0009 and TCP 2026-0030, subject to the conditions recommended in the technical staff report as amended by the applicant.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jenkins and a second by Commissioner Gerardo. I'll now call the vote. Commissioner Gerardo.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye as well. Happy to hear that we will see shovel on ground come August 2026. Correct. Not 2029, 2026. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is item 6, specific site design, SDP-2025-0015, Saddle Ridge. We'll now hear from staff. And Good
morning, Vice Chair and members of the planning board. For the record, my name is Emery Huang with Urban Design Sections. Item number 6 is specific design plan SDP-2025-0015 for Saddle Ridge. This specific design plan is for the development of 450 single-family detached dwellings and 253 single attached dwellings with recreational amenities. As a matter of housekeeping, prior to June 9th noon deadline, staff received one exhibit from the applicants titled Applicants Exhibit 1. This exhibit outlined the revised findings and conditions proposed by the applicants. Staff have reviewed and revised conditions and agreed with the revisions. Next slide, please. This subject property is located in the planning area 825A and then Council District 9. Next slide, please. The site is located to the south of Floral Park Road and north of the Akoki Road, approximately 1 mile west of the intersection of the Akoki Road and Brandywine Road. Next slide, please. The subject site, outlined in red, is located within the Legacy Comprehensive Design Zone, as shown in the image to the right. However, this application is being reviewed under the prior zoning ordinance, and its prior zone is residential suburban development, as shown in the image to the left. Next slide, please. This map illustrates the topography of the subject property along with its internal environmental features. Next slide, please. This map shows the adjacent master plan's right-of-way. Floral Park Road, adjacent to the subject property to the north, is classified as primary road, while Akoki Road, bordering the property to the south, is classified as a collector road. Next slide, please. The subject property is currently wooded and is bisected by an approximately 350-foot wide corridor owned by the Potomac Electric Power Company, which divides the site into two development parts. To the north, the property is bounded by Floral Park Road with single-family detached homes located beyond. To the south, it is bounded by Akoki Road with the Millville Quarry situated beyond. To the east and west, the site is surrounded by a mix of the vacant land and single-family detached homes. Next slide, please. This specific design plan shows that the subject development consists of two development parts. The northern development part including 163 townhouse dwellings units, while the southern developed part including the remaining single-family attached and detached dwelling units. The subject developments including various types of recreational facilities such as clubhouse with a pool, a dog park, a community garden, tennis courts, and playgrounds and the seating areas throughout the site. Next slide, please. The development subject to the 2010 landscape manual requirements. The submitted landscape plan demonstrates compliance with all applicable sections, which is discussed in the page 25 of the technical staff report. Next slide, please. These slides demonstrate the tree conservation plan, which is discussed on pages 25 through 29 of the technical staff report. Specifically, Type 2 tree conservation is in conformance with Type 1 tree conservation plan associated with preliminary plan of subdivision 4-24013, which was approved by the planning board in 2025. Specimen trees were evaluated for removal with preliminary plan of subdivision 4-24013 and the specific design plan SDP-2304 for a total of 76 specimen trees. With subject application, the applicants proposes saving 5 specimen trees that were previously approved to remove and requested a variance to remove 1 specimen trees on site. As such, the total number of specimen trees to be removed for the subject property will be 72. An analysis of staff findings on the request variance can be found on page 25 through 29 of the technical staff report. Next slide, please. These slides illustrate 2 access points from the Floral Park Road serving the northern development part and 3 access points from the Akoki Road serving the larger southern part. Internal circulation is supported by a network of both public and private streets designed to accommodate the vehicles efficiently. Vehicular and pedestrian circulation are clearly defined and separated to provide safe, convenient access throughout the site. In addition, a master planned trail will link the northern and southern parts, offering continuous bicycle and pedestrian connectivity to amenities across the subject development. It's noted that the traffic impact for the proposed development were evaluated with a certificate of adequacy ADQ-2024-019 which has been previously approved. Next slide, please. The slides 12 and 13 represent the elevation of the proposed clubhouse, which is located in the middle of the southern portion of the development. This design of the clubhouse includes a low gable roof with multiple projections, covered with asphalt shingles, horizontal siding, fibrous mat panels, stone columns, and larger windows in contemporary design trend. Next slide, please. And next slide. Yeah, okay. To sum up this presentation, Urban Design Staff recommended that the Planning Board adopt the findings of the report, approved specific design plan SDP-2025-0015, Type 2 Tree Conservation Plan TCP2-2026-0032, and the variance to Section 25-122D1G for Saco Ridge, subject to the recommended condition of the approval within the technical staff report, with the revision proposed by the applicant's Exhibit 1. This concludes their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that report. Any questions for staff?
I have a question. With the Saddle Ridge, are there any anticipated road widenings? You're gonna widen the roads?
Yes, so the Resource Commissioner Matthews, so during the PPS, there's a roadway dedication along the Floral Park Road, and so that will be already shown on the plans.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? I see none, and we hear from applicants if I'm
You're faster than me today.
I'm in school, I never understood.
Okay. Everyone intending to speak on this item, please be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do. Thank you. Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the Planning Board, for the record, Matthew Tedesco, the law firm of McNamee and Greenbelt. Here on behalf of the applicant, D.R. Horton, Incorporated, with me this afternoon, a number of representatives of the development team as well as the applicant team, and I'll just introduce them for the board's benefit and ask them to just acknowledge the board so you know who they are. From D.R. Horton, we have Bobby Varner and Jeff Otenisek. From Rogers Consulting, we have Charlie Howe and Christine Gillette and Rob Swam. Not with us, but part of the team, Bridget Stokes and Steve Allison. From my office, Dominique Lockhart, who's on attending this virtually. And from Lenhart Traffic Consulting, we have Mike Lenhart, who's in the room. We also have Monroe Harrison from GS Proctor & Associates that rounds out this development team. I want to thank them, and I want to thank your staff for their review of this application. This property has a very long history of surface mining operations going back more than 50 years. From its initiation, the project going back more than 5 years ago, we started back in 2021, and back even before then in 2013 with the Subregion 5 Master Plan. The vision and the goal for this project and this property was to create the best possible land plan while preserving and enhancing the property's unique environmental characteristics and features consisting of the Birch Branch and its associated tributaries. This application, as I mentioned, represents the final implementation step in a 5-year planning and approval process. What's important to note about this project is that it has not grown larger or more intensive as it's moved through the entitlement process. Quite the opposite. Going back through the approvals, and just for the board's edification, I'll go through them briefly as staff highlights them in your staff report. On July 8, 2021, the Planning Board recommended approval of the zoning map amendment, which is the basic plan A-10060, which rezoned the property from the RE and RR zones to the RS, a comprehensive design zone. After the review by the hearing examiner and the district council, the property was effectively rezoned in October of 2022 with the approval of the basic plan that approved up to 737 to 955 dwelling units within the applicable development density ranges of the master plan. Then came the comprehensive design plan, CDP 22001. On October 19, 2023, this board conducted its hearing, and on November 9, 2023, approved the CDP with the adoption of this resolution. The CDP approved a range of 621 detached homes and 333 attached homes for a total of 954 dwelling units. The CDP also imposed environmental design, recreational, and green building requirements that continue to govern the project today. The project then advanced to an infrastructure specific design plan, SDP 2304, which was heard by this board almost 2 years to the day, being June 13th, when the board approved that, and that day stands out just because it happens to be my birthday. So I do remember that hearing. At the conclusion of that hearing, the district council then approved the SDP for infrastructure on October 29th, 2024. The county thoroughly reviewed and approved the grading, utilities, water and sewer, stormwater management facilities, the environmental protections, and the road network necessary to support this future development. The project then underwent subdivision and a certificate of adequacy with the preliminary plan 4-24013. That was heard by this board on July 10th, 2025, and the resolution was adopted in July 31st, 2025. Certified in October, last fall, October 2025. Importantly, this is where the project began to get more refined. Rather than pursuing 954 units authorized by the CDP, the applicant reduced the project to 783 lots and 97 parcels at that time. The subdivision process further refined the community design, transportation network, environmental preservation, trail system, and parkland dedication. I would note that this project dedicates more than 102 acres to the commission as a public benefit. Next, the planning board considered SDP 2501, which was the umbrella architecture for the project, consisting of 19 single-family detached models and 9 single-family attached model homes. Following the public hearing in October of 2025, the planning board adopted its resolution on October 30th, 2025. That approval established all residential architectural standards for the community. So that brings us here today. SDP-2025-0015 is not requesting an increase in density. No new land use entitlement is proposed, nor any deviation from the development vision approved by this board and by the district council. This application is the culmination of 5 years of planning, review, and entitlements. Again, the basic plan authorized up to 955 dwelling units. The CDP approved up to 954. The preliminary plan reduced that to 783. And the specific design plan before you today proposes 703 dwelling units, consisting of a majority of single-family detached homes, 450 of which, and then 253 townhomes. That reduction has allowed additional refinements of the lotting patterns, greater integration of the environmental features, preservation of substantial portions of the Birch Branch system and its tributaries, and expanded open space opportunities, as well as the aforementioned 102-acre conveyance to the Commission for Parkland. This story is not one of expansion. It's a story of careful planning and thoughtful design to implement goals and policies of the master plan. It's a story of a project that has progressed exactly as the county's comprehensive design process is intended, although slowly, beginning with the broad conceptual approvals and becoming increasingly refined through each successive stage of review. Every major issue has already been evaluated and resolved in favor of the project advancing to completion. The land use and density was approved in 2022 as part of the basic plan. The development framework was approved in 2023 with the CDP. The infrastructure was approved in 2024 with the infrastructure SDP. The subdivision and adequate public facilities were determined and approved in 2025, and the architecture was approved in 2025. All referral agencies support the application. The technical staff, who again I would thank publicly for their review of this application and their technical staff report, all find that the plan is consistent with Plan 2035, the Subregion 5 Master Plan, is consistent with all prior approvals and associated conditions, satisfies the approval criteria of Section 27.528, and recommends approval of this SDP. For all those reasons, we would respectfully request your approval of this application as recommended by staff, as further modified by Appendix Exhibit 1. Myself and the full team are here to answer any questions. We thank you for the board's continued support of this project and hopeful approval today. Thank you.
All right, any questions for the client's attorney?
I have one question. In reference to the stormwater, how many stormwater management facilities are proposed?
I'd have to have Mr. Howe come up here and answer that. Yeah, we have an approved stormwater concept approval. All that was vetted and approved with a specific design plan for infrastructure, but I don't have the actual number at my fingertips. Forgive me, Ms. Matthews.
Okay.
Remember.
To answer the stormwater management question, our concept has 25 microbiome facilities and 12 spring-fed wetlands, along with water quality and flood control.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for the client's attorney? I see none. We'll now take testimonies from those who have signed up to speak on this item. We have Bobby Warner. Bobby Varner, yeah.
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, we have a number of representatives of the applicant team who have signed up, but none of whom need to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm just gonna go down to Mark Collin. Is Mark? Mark is not in the building, and Mark is not online. All right. Are there any questions for this?
He should be on, yeah, he should be on one. He was on.
Mark, are you online? Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark. Wake up, Mark. All right, we'll move on. Any questions for the speakers from the planning board? I see none. Mr. Tedesco, you may have the rebuttal. I guess Mark is not here.
Yeah, I would just note that Mr. Calhoun is an adjoining property owner. We're familiar. He's attended these hearings in the past. His issues have been articulated in the record. We think they're adequately addressed, even though they weren't raised today. But I would just note that for the record. So we don't have any further rebuttal, Mr. Vice Chair.
That's very well.
Thank you.
Any questions for applicant's attorney before you take? I see none. All right, plans to be announced summarizing testimony. I see none. Applicant's attorney, I see none. The hearing is now closed. Do we have a motion?
I move that we adopt the findings of staff as amended by applicants Exhibit 1 and approve SDP 2025-0015 and TCP 2026-0032, subject to the conditions recommended in the technical staff report as amended by applicants Exhibit 1.
I second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Jenkins and second by Commissioner Matthews. I'll now call the roll. Commissioner Jenkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
Thank you.
One moment. Add to the motion variance from section
25.
25, 122, B1G. Right? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Huang.
Thank you. Do we need to call that vote again?
Yes.
All right.
Or, did you all voted while I was, sorry. So let's come back, make the motion again, second again, vote again, just for total clarity on the record.
All right.
So the motion is going to be variance from section 25, 122, B1G.
All right. We call for the motion.
I move that we adopt the findings of staff as amended by applicants Exhibit 1 and approve SDP 2025-0015 and TCP 2026-0032, subject to the conditions recommended in the technical staff report as amended by the applicant's Exhibit 1, a variance from section 25, 122B1G.
I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jenkins and a second by Commissioner Matthews. I will now call the roll. Commissioner Jenkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. I would like to, for the record, that Commissioner Gerardo had to leave for an emergency. And we'll see how it works. The next item is on the agenda, item 8, Countywide Planning Division, proposed designation of one Prince George's County historic site, Westinghouse Harris Market. We'll now hear from staff.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Vice Chair and members of the Planning Board. My name is Casey Roan. That's it. Casey Roan, Planner 3 in the Historic Preservation section. Item 8 before you today is the proposed designation of a new Prince George's County historic site, the Weinstein House Harry's Market at 4221 31st Street in Mount Rainier. This is documented property 68-074-05. Next slide, please. Briefly, under subtitle 29-120-01, Prince George's County property owners may request historic site evaluation. This evaluation came to us in October of 2025. Staff then researched the property and prepared a recommendation to the Historic Preservation Commission, which held a public hearing and voted to recommend designation on February 17th, 2026. The HPC forwarded the recommendation to the Planning Board and District Council, which then held a joint public hearing on May 4th, 2026 to receive the HPC's recommendation and any public testimony. No public testimony was received before the closing of the record. This item is before the Planning Board today to consider the HPC's recommendation and then to make your own recommendation, which will transmit to the District Council, which must take final action within 2 months. With that, I'll briefly review the property and the HPC's recommendation. Next slide, please. The Weinstein House Harry's Market is a purpose-built early 20th century mixed-use complex consisting of a circa 1920 one-story corner store, seen at the left here, with an attached circa 1924 multi-family dwelling at the right. This building retains its historic massing, its mixed-use configuration, and architectural details reflecting its commercial and multi-family residential uses. Next slide, please. Harry and Leah Weinstein, who are recent Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe, moved into the property in 1924 and opened Harry's Market. Next slide. The store was operated continuously by the Weinstein family for the next 72 years, was associated with the District Grocery Stores Cooperative, and survived significant changes in the grocery business. Next slide. The Historic Preservation Commission recommended designation of the Weinstein House Harry's Market on the basis of 4 designation criteria of subtitle 29104A, criteria 1A3 and 1A4 for historical and cultural significance, and criteria 2A4 and 2A5 for architectural and design significance. Under 1A3, the property is associated with the District Grocery Stores Cooperative, a regional network of Jewish-owned independent grocers who influence neighborhood commerce and immigrant economic mobility. Under 1A4, the property illustrates immigrant family entrepreneurship, early 20th century streetcar suburb development, and the transition from independent groceries to supermarkets. Next slide. Under 2A4, the property represents a distinguishable early example of a purpose-built mixed-use building. And under 2A5, it's an established neighborhood landmark on a prominent corner with 72 years of continuous operation. Next slide. Should the Planning Board concur with the recommendation of the Historic Preservation Commission that the Weinstein House Harry's Market be designated as a Prince George's County Historic Site, staff will prepare a transmittal letter from the Planning Board to the District Council recommending historic site designation of the property. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that report. Any questions for staff?
I just have a quick question. Is the market still operating, to your awareness?
We did the research and documentation for this property in February, and at that time, the new owner was in the process of rehabilitating the building, and they were looking for a commercial tenant to go into that space.
Sounds great.
Okay. So we have a motion.
I move that we adopt the findings of staff, recommend that county council approve the historic designation for the Weinstein House Dairy Market, and direct staff to transmit the proposed letter so recommended.
I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jenkins and a second by Commissioner Matthews. I will now call the roll. Commissioner Jenkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is item 9, preliminary plan of subdivision PPS-2024-016, the mark at College Park. Owner here from staff. Jason Bartlett.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board. For the record, I'm Jason Bartlett with the subdivision section. Supplemental item number 9 on the agenda is a preliminary plan of subdivision for the Market College Park, PPS-2024-016. This preliminary plan of subdivision was continued from the May 28, 2026 Planning Board hearing to today, June 11, 2026. This subdivision proposes one parcel for development of 600 multifamily residential dwelling units. This preliminary plan is associated with an approved certificate of adequacy, ADQ-2024-040, which was approved in accordance with the subdivision regulations to ensure that infrastructure necessary to support the proposed development is adequate in accordance with established level of service standards. As a matter of housekeeping, prior to the May 28th Planning Board hearing, 2 letters were submitted to the Planning Board. One was from the applicant requesting a waiver of the 70-day review period and a continuance of the hearing to today. The other letter was from the town of University Park supporting approval of this preliminary plan, subject to the position taken by the city of College Park with respect to the bicycle pedestrian impact statement improvements, also referred to as BPIS. These items are included in the backup for this case. In addition, prior to the noon deadline on June 9th for today's hearing, the Planning Board received 3 additional letters. One is a letter from the applicant requesting revisions to 2 conditions, conditions 2 and 9, which are technical in nature and which staff are in agreement with. The other 2 items are from the City of College Park, including a letter supporting approval of the preliminary plan and their staff report. The city recommends approval of the PPS and includes 5 conditions in the city's staff report that outline bicycle and pedestrian improvements. The majority of these improvements have been incorporated by M-NCPPC staff into the approved certificate of adequacy, which is not before the board today. It is staff's understanding that the remaining items are included in a separate declaration of covenants between the applicant and the City of College Park. In conclusion, the subdivision staff recommends that the Planning Board adopt the findings and approve the preliminary plan of subdivision, PPS-2024-016, as well as a variation request to Section 24-4205 to not provide public utility easements, subject to the findings and conditions in the technical staff report, as modified with applicants' proposed revisions to condition 2 and 9. This concludes staff's presentation.
Any question from staff? I see none. As we hear from applicants at hand, action. You switching it?
Oh man, somebody far more eloquent than me is going to talk right now.
Before you get to talking, everyone who is signed up to speak on this item, do you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth?
Yes.
Good afternoon, members of the Planning Board. For the record, my name is Jonathan Martin. a land use attorney with C.L. Hatcher with the office in Maryland, or in Laurel, Maryland. Our firm represents the applicant, the Market College Park LLC, on this preliminary plan subdivision application TPS 2024-016, as well as a variation request from section 24-4205 of the subdivision regulations. Joining us today are several members of the applicant's team, including attorney Chris Hatcher, applicant's representative Hamilton Reynolds, our civil engineer Joe DeMarco, our transportation engineer Mike Lenhart, architect Matt Lamb with WDG Architecture, and B. Choi of Live Land Design. She's our landscape architect. B and Hamilton are joining us virtually. They are all available to speak and answer questions the planning board or staff may have for them. As mentioned by staff, this PPS application proposes to develop one parcel with 600 multifamily residential dwelling units. Additionally, this application includes a variation from section 24-4205 of the subdivision regulations for removal of the public utility easement requirements along the property's frontage. I would like to thank Park and Planning staff, Jason, as well as the City of College Park, the Town of University Park, and additional community stakeholders for their assistance and engagement on this ongoing matter during our neighborhood meetings as well as the City Council meetings that we have participated in over the past year. We look forward to their continued involvement as this project moves forward. We have submitted into the record applicant's Exhibit 1, which proposes some technical revisions to staff's findings and proposed conditions. Staff has had an opportunity to review the applicant's exhibit and have expressed support for the revisions. In closing, the applicant respectfully asks that the planning board accept the staff's findings of fact and conclusions of law as provided within the technical staff report as amended by applicant's Exhibit 1, as well as the variation from section 24-4205. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Any question for the defense attorney?
I have a quick question. In reference to the traffic, how will this project impact traffic along US 1 and Harvard Road during the peak hours of university traffic?
For that, I'll ask Michael Lenhart to provide.
Hi, good afternoon. For the record, Michael Lenhart of Lenhart Traffic Consulting. We did conduct a traffic impact study that was scoped with Park and Planning, Transportation staff, State Highway, DPI, and DPWT. The scope for College Park sector, the adequacy is based upon looking at signalized intersections from Campus Way down to Guilford Drive. All of those signalized intersections between that section we looked at in the study, as well as site access points along Hartwick and up in the community, and they all were found to pass.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? See none, we will now take testimony from those who have signed up to speak on this. B. Choi.
Similarly, we have several members of the applicant's team that are not necessarily going to speak.
All right, so we jump down to Carlos News. Is Carlos News online?
Carlos Nunez will not be. Carlos Nunez will not be speaking.
Okay, thank you. We have Miriam Bader.
Yes, that's me. For the record, it's Miriam Bader, Director of Planning and Community Development for the City of College Park. The City of College Park City Council, at their meeting on June 2nd, 2026, voted unanimously to support approval of preliminary plan of subdivision PPS-2024-016 and the variation request for the mark at 4330 Hartwick Road and 4313 Knox Road, subject to the conditions outlined in the city staff report. These conditions are included in the approved certificate of adequacy, ADQ-2024-040.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Miriam. We have Nathaniel Fortman.
I'll leave my chance to speak because I'm with the City of College Park.
Well, thank you. Stephanie Anderson.
Stephanie's not here either.
Are there any other speakers to the planning board? No questions? Is Roger, you may have a little? No? Any questions from the attorney? No question. I see none. The hearing is not closed. Board members, do have a motion?
Mr. Vice Chair, I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve PPS-2024-016 along with a variation from section 24-4205 of the subdivision regulations, subject to the conditions recommended in the technical staff report as amended by applicant's Exhibit 1.
A second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jenkins and a second by Commissioner Matthews. I will now call the roll. Commissioner Jenkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The ayes have it. Thank you, staff.
Thank you all very much.
The next item on the agenda is item 7, detailed site plan DET-2024-009, the mark at College Park. We'll now hear from staff.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair and the Planning Board. Yes, it's afternoon now. For the record, my name is Emery Huang with Urban Design Sections. The item number 7 is a detailed site plan DET-2024-009 for the Mark A. College Park. This application is for the development of 589 multi-family dwelling units within 2 buildings with associated site infrastructure and amenities, including a central promenade. The subject site is within the city of College Park, west of the Baltimore Avenue between Hardwick Road and Knox Road. The property is within the regional transient-oriented planned development and aviation policy area overlay zones. As a matter of housekeeping, prior to the June 9th noonday light, staff received 5 exhibits from the applicants. Applicants Exhibit 1 outlines the revised conditions proposed by the applicants. Staff has reviewed the revised condition and are in agreement with the revisions. Applicants Exhibit 2 through 5 consist of ethical affidavits for the business entity associated with these applications. Before the noonday line, staff also received 2 exhibits from the City of College Park, indicated the City of College Park City Council at a meeting on June 2nd, 2026, voting unanimously to support approval of this project with 3 conditions. Condition A includes 3 sub-conditions. Condition A1 recommends a micromobility docking station, while Condition A2 recommends on-site security gates at the western portion of the property. Both conditions were respectively evaluated and including in pages 23 and 32 of the technical staff report. Condition A3 recommends 3 off-site raised cross walks located on Knox Road and Hardwick Road, owned by the City of College Park, which is outside the boundary of the subject site and is excluded from the review of this detailed site plan, as the zoning ordinance indicate the potential access provider focus on the design of the internal pedestrian systems. Staff do not recommend the cities on Condition B and Condition D to be applied to the approval of this detailed site plan because Condition B recommends the execution of the Declaration of Covenants and Agreement between the applicants and the City of College Park, and Condition D includes a list of the items that will be addressed at the time of permitting. Based on the finding presented in the technical staff report, Urban Design staff recommended that the planning board adopt the findings of this report and approve detailed site plan DET-2024-009 for the Mark at College Park, subject to recommended condition of approval within the technical staff report and the revision proposed by the applicants Exhibit 1. This concludes staff presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emery. Is there any question for staff?
No.
Let's see that. Will I hear from applicant's attorney?
Once again, because this is an evidentiary hearing, we're swearing you all in. To all persons intending to speak on this matter, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon again, members of the planning board. For the record, my name is Jonathan Martin with C.L. Hatcher, a law firm with an office in Laurel, Maryland. Our firm represents the applicant, the Market College Park, LLC, for the detailed site plan DET 2024-009 before you today. As previously mentioned during our discussion during the PPS, we have several members of the team, of the applicant's team with us. I'll save mentioning all their names again, but they're all available to speak and answer questions you may have, you or staff may have for us. As mentioned by staff, this detailed site plan application proposes the development of 589 multifamily residential dwelling units within 2 buildings, together with associated site infrastructure. This detailed site plan also proposes to develop the property with extensive recreational facilities and public benefit facilities, including the pedestrian promenade and the green space on the eastern portion of the property. I would again like to thank Park and Planning staff for their diligent work, thank you, Emery, on this application, as well as the City of College Park, Town University Park, and other community stakeholders. And we look forward to continued engagement with them as this application moves forward. We have submitted into the record applicant's Exhibit 1, which proposes a few revisions to staff's proposed conditions. Staff has had an opportunity to review the applicant's exhibit and have expressed support for those revisions. In closing, the applicant respectfully requests the planning board accept the staff's findings of fact and conclusions of law as provided in the technical staff report and approve DET 2024-009, subject to the conditions found in the staff report as modified by applicant's Exhibit 1.
All right, any questions for applicant's attorney? All right, we will now take testimonies. Maybe Carlos do this.
I'm sorry, Carlos will not be speaking.
All right. Miriam Beda, you are it. Miriam Beda?
Yes.
Okay.
For the record, this is Miriam Bader, Director of Planning and Community Development for the City of College Park. The City of College Park City Council, at their meeting on June 2nd, 2026, voted unanimously to support approval of detailed site plan for the Mark at 4330 Hartwick Road and 4313 Knox Road, subject to the conditions outlined in the city staff report. For the most part, these conditions have been adequately included in the Park and Planning Technical Staff Report. Those items not included, including a section dedicated to providing affordable housing, have been included in an agreement and declaration of covenants between the city and the applicant. While most of the items have been resolved and agreed to by the applicant, we have a few more minor issues to resolve. As a result, to date, the agreement and declaration of covenants has not been signed. We plan to continue working with the applicant to have a signed document prior to certification of the detailed site plan, which was condition 1Q in the technical staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Nathaniel Faulkman.
I'll wait my right to speak.
Thank you very much. Stephanie Anderson.
Stephanie's not here.
Okay. Are there any questions for the speakers for the planning board? I see none. Mr. Jonathan, we have time for rebuttal.
Thank you for your time. We have nothing else. Thank you.
Any questions for applicant's attorney? I see none. The hearing is now closed. Do we have a motion?
I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve DET-2024-009, subject to the conditions recommended in the technical staff report as amended by the applicant's Exhibit 1.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jenkins and a second by Commissioner Matthews. I will now call the roll. Commissioner Jenkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The ayes have it.
Sorry, finish the vote. I apologize for the distraction of the note.
No, I think we finished. I voted aye, so the ayes have it. Yeah? This will conclude all items for today's agenda. At this time, I would like to return to item 3B for an additional closed session to obtain legal advice related to the budget for section 3-305B7 of the General Provisions Article of the Maryland Code. Can I get a motion? Motion to be.
I move that we go to closed session.
Second.
All right, we will go into closed session and we will not be returning.
Call the vote on that.
Oh, yeah. So I have a motion by Commissioner Jenkins and a second by Commissioner Matthews. I call the roll. Commissioner Jenkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And this will conclude the agenda. And
Doesn't conclude the
it
agenda.
doesn't conclude it,
Yeah.
but we'll be going into a second, but we will not be returning. We'll be closing up.
I have to check the rules on that. We don't have to return to close the meeting, but apologize.
All right, so we voted to go into a second closed session.